Welcome to the third edition of Nighttime with Karnes. I'm about to go to bed here in probably about 30 or 45 minutes because I am old and I like sleeping. Some topics for you tonight. I didn't do this last night because I wasn't feeling well. Basically, I had gotten down with fatigue, and it's been hitting me throughout all last night and all today, and it's something to be expected with chemotherapy and cancer. I woke up this morning. I slept in this morning and woke up, and I still felt dead to the world. But I went ahead and went to work anyway because I needed to get some stuff done, like catch up on work and work out my goals and stuff like that. And while I was there, I drank a nice cup of coffee, and that seemed to perk me up a bit. So I've been dealing with fatigue since last night and today, and still feel kind of tired today, but better than I did last night before I went to bed. Last night I watched a movie called Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. It's about a kid in high school who befriends another kid, a girl with cancer. Probably not the best movie I should be watching, but I watched it anyway. It was a good movie. Cinematography was well done. Great story, keeps you interested, and it's a movie about cancer, so you can probably guess the ending on that one. But if you're looking for something to watch, I encourage you to check this movie out. Kathy Sandlin asked me tonight she asked a couple of questions, and I'm encouraging anyone to ask questions. But her questions were, how did I get into writing, and then how did I pick the genre? How did I get the genre for One Nation? The first question on the writing part, I've been writing since I was a little kid. I started with my own comic books when I was about 6 or 7 years old. I still have them in a milk crate in the closet over here of the comic books I've written, and they're little kid comic books. They're goofy as hell, but they're it's a story, and they're horrible, but you keep practicing and you get better at it. Eventually, instead of writing just comic books, I just started writing short stories. I've made attempts at novels at several times. Even as far back as the 90s, I was writing my own short stories and submitting them for critique to a short story to a group that was online at the time, and I would get feedback on how to make from other writers on how to make my stuff better. I had been attempting to write novels for years, and with everything, it comes in fits and starts. And then I just in November of 2013, I was at work. I'd worked for a different company at the time, and I was unhappy with work, and I knew that I needed to do something to call my own. I can sell software forever, but that's really just working for somebody else and making money for somebody else. But I wanted to create and make something for myself, and just create something and be proud of it. So I was unhappy with work, and I decided I'd already had this idea of a story in my head long ago, and I just started with a scene in my head, and then that's how I do with most stories. It starts with a scene, and then it builds from there. I want to know what happened before the scene. I want to know what happened after the scene. And usually I just completely develop the plot in my head from beginning to end. When I write a story, I know how it starts. I know how it ends. It's the middle part that gets me, that messes me up because I have to work my way through the middle. And when you work your way through the middle, that's where you create your conflicts for your characters. You're constantly getting your characters in trouble, and then you got to get them out of trouble. And sometimes you might write yourself into a corner, which I almost did with Jennifer Hansen in One Nation. Towards the end there, I almost got her in so much trouble I couldn't get her out of it. The genre of One Nation, most of the stuff I've ever written when I was a kid or when I was younger would be something more along the lines of the science fiction setting or the horror setting. When I grew up reading Stephen King novels, Dean Koontz, Robert R. McCammon, things of that nature, Harlan Ellison, some more sci-fi stuff, and those are the things I like to read today. When I created One Nation, it doesn't even fit a genre. It's kind of a political thriller, but not really. It's kind of a dystopian thriller, but not really. It's an adventure story, but not really. It can't. I committed a cardinal sin of writing a story that doesn't fit a niche, because it could fit so many different niches based on what the story is. It just doesn't. If I was to try to sell it to a publisher today, they would be they would kick it back in my face and tell me not, this isn't going to work. I remember when I came up with the concept of this novel, I was watching TV at the time, and one of the political pundits was on television, and he was saying that, and I can't remember which pundit it was, but he was saying that the next president elected was going to be the most hated president in history, and this was in November of 2013. And then I kind of came up with this scenario where after the 2016 election, America just kind of falls apart because of, and I needed a catalyst for it too. So that catalyst, I came up with a catalyst of a global pandemic and a worldwide economic crisis. But it could be any. I mean, you're going to have the catalyst can come from anywhere. We almost went to war over North Korea over a Seth Rogen, James Franco movie a few years back. So anything could happen in the world. So I came up with this dystopian thriller. Basically, it's a fascist America that is under one party, and Jennifer Hansen, she's the all-American girl who was the cheerleader in high school and has the perfect life and the perfect husband and everything, and she has everything that she ever wants. She finds her life turned upside down, and I wanted her to go through that struggle and figure out what figure out if she could survive, if she could live in this environment where, can she live in this political climate where everything's turned upside down for her, or does she need to escape? And if you've read the novel, she decides to escape America and escape the fascism that she's experiencing. So the novel is a complete genre bender. I mean, it's straight as far as the story goes. I mean, you have a beginning, you have a middle, you have an end. You have conflict. Your characters go through the conflict and they go through resolution at the end. It's typical as far as storytelling goes, but it doesn't fit a typical genre. So that's how I came up with One Nation, and I'm working on a sequel for it right now, which I got to find between work and because I have a day job, and between work and everything else that's going on, I have to find time to do everything, including marketing and promoting myself, which is why we have which is why we have Nighttime with Karnes these days. That's one thing I can confess is that I'm lost on the marketing aspects of this. I'm probably pretty terrible at marketing, but I'll fumble my way through it, and I'll learn as I go. Let's see, anything else going on? Well, I work today, and then I got to go back to work tomorrow, and then at the end of the month I'm going to Cancun, but not for vacation; it's for work. So conference rooms by day and corporate events by night. But that's all I have for you at the moment. As always, if you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask them. And if there's ever a topic that you want me to talk about, please let me know. You can feel free to drop me a comment here or on my author page or on my personal page in general. And with that, I'll wish you all a good night.